Hello and welcome. My name is Tara, intuitive healer, teacher, guide, specializing in the shadow. And we are going to be talking about predictions. We're talking about the prediction for August 2023. And if you've been following my channel, if you've been following these predictions as we move through each month and through each lunar cycle, well, I'm going to go back before going forward because in July, which we're in right now, I completely underestimated the potency of the new moon in Cancer. So I want to start at the new moon in Cancer, especially with the nodal axis shift that we experienced, which I've talked about this in small groups on Patreon pertaining to this energy that we had gone through already, and that was during the new moon in Cancer. So I was feeling as a universal month number 5 in July, yes, change was going to happen. And I truthfully felt that the beginning of the month with the full supermoon in Capricorn would have been the catalyst for that change. But we got hit a couple times in the month of July. So it was that full moon in Capricorn, which was very powerful, plus that nodal axis shift. So the north node moving into Aries, south node moving into Libra. Now, the interesting part about this is that we had 18 months prior of the South Node in Scorpio. So if you had gone through profound death and rebirth, shifting and changing and really uncomfortable energies over the last 18 months, and then you may have been dealing with a very strong aspect of that South Node in Scorpio. Okay, so that I feel was a theme for many people who have been speaking with, myself included, now moving into a different some people label it as destiny. Other astrologers have been labeling it as traditional astrology, more of a directional shift. So the shift in our direction is going to be different for everyone, though, because everyone's going to have different aspects within their chart. But the energy has shifted. Okay, so the month of July was change. It was a universal month number 5, which was all about change. How change shows up, we don't know. And that's part of this discovery and these conversations, is to be aware and mindful of what could be coming up, what is a theme, and how can you be observant and conscious around some of these aspects within your life. And the more conscious and aware we are of this, then the more we can really understand, the more we can change, the more we can heal, the greater experiences we can have, the greater manifestation abilities we can have, etc. So it's really great to be aware of what the theme could be, and you have your own personal month number. So remember to look into that. It's really important. It is going to be part of your experience for the month. All right. So let's go into August. Now, we just had that shift, which did change a lot of energy for us. Now, it could have maybe redirected your path or put you on a path that you may have been feel called towards for some time, and now it's here. There could be even a shift within your identity. There could be a change in relationships with the South Node in Libra, balancing relationships, maybe even relationships, like letting go of old toxic cycles of relationships that don't work. Now, this is going to also take me into Venus retrograde in Leo, which is right now and is happening until, I believe, September. This month, moving into August now, we are moving into a universal month number 6. There are a lot of interesting energies happening this month. When we move from Cancer to Leo, so we have Leo season starting on the 23rd of July. This is where we, especially the change that we've gone through, if you've experienced this is where you get to shine. This is where you come out from, maybe you've gone through a difficult change, maybe you've gone through a shift emotionally, or again, like I mentioned, with identity or with a path that you are feeling called towards. This is where is going to show. This is where you're going to step into it. So Cancer season has been about the emotions, our intuitive self, but also connecting with our deeper self, really starting to feel and sense, and also feel and sense into emotions and relationships, and even our space, our close space, what is really near and dear to us and important for us. But it's also a time of integration, right? It's a time of integration and adapting to change, feeling it on a deep level, understanding it through our senses, because our senses are a very strong mechanism for interpreting life, and the closer we can be with our emotions, the more we get to understand about many aspects of life, our relationships, our heart, our intuition, feelings, senses, all like the pleasures with the senses, like the emotions, the emotional side, but also our triggers, also the really dark stuff, all the really harsh stuff. Cancer can be very emotional, and that can be very tied with our shadow self. Our emotions are very strongly connected with our shadow, and that is a really great entry point to discover your shadow traits, your triggers, your fears, your deeper emotions, your restrictions, your limitations, from the place of the emotions, because the emotions really guide us into the depths within ourselves. So this has been a time of that. It could be also a time of healing, a time of restoration, a time of even just being at peace and trying to find that space and place within yourself where you can feel more balanced and more whole. All right, but now, since we've had that big change, the new moon in Cancer, where you may have set your intentions into a new manifestation journey, or maybe even been very conscious around what you want to create, what you want to experience moving forward, and that nodal axis shift, we have Leo season coming in here to then move us outwardly. Okay, so we've been in a time of inwardly, really understanding our emotions, getting closer within ourselves. Now we go out. We go out to express, we go out to be bold, we go out to make change, we go out to create. It's a very creative energy. Leo archetype in the month of August is going to be predominantly Leo, and then we move into Virgo later in the month, which I'll get to in just a moment. So we have mostly Leo energy that we're entering August with. We're going to have this really big, bold energy to work with. It is really great, actually, to align with that Aries North Node. Okay, so the North Node of what we feel called towards, a more of individualistic sense of self and identity. But what do we want to create for ourselves? What do we feel called towards? Maybe shining our light brighter in our community or with the world or with our friends or family, or do we just feel like expressing ourselves differently or creating something new or creating something that is going to make a big impact? Okay, so this is really great energy now to go out, to move out and to express and to create and to have fun, enjoy. We have the sun in full force here in the northern hemisphere. So going out and enjoying summer, getting some of that good old vitamin D, spending time with friends, just having fun. So this naturally is going to change in the month of August. The energy is going to change, but we also have a universal month number 6 coming in, and 6 is pertaining to love and relationships. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic, especially with Venus in retrograde. There's going to be maybe a little bit of challenge with relationships, but there's a very nice ability to create harmonious relationships, South Node in Libra. So this is kind of all connecting really well here, right? And this is what I like to do, is connect the dots with some of these themes and see what is going to be a main theme, maybe for the collective, for all of us, but how we can even use this energy to focus on certain aspects within our life and within ourselves to create a little bit more maybe balance or closeness with relationships with ourselves. Again, like I said, it's really great for manifestation and for creating greater self-awareness. Now, the 6 energy, as I mentioned, is a very beautiful, beautiful energy to do with relationships, to do with love, to do with harmony. It's a very nurturing energy, nurturing of self, nurturing of, again, relationships is a big theme. Can be very protective energy. And so with this Venus in retrograde in Leo, there may be really interesting relationship dynamics showing up in the month of August. Make sure you check your personal month number. That's going to be very important. That's going to give you an indicator of what you might be experiencing, but that 6 frequency is going to play out in your with your month number together. Okay, so if you have a personal month number 2, for example, that is very, very, very strong around partnerships, relationships, diplomacy, harmony with others, really good for business relationships. So the 6 and the 2 together, very, very, very nice. But that Venus in retrograde is going to be prompting us to connect with what we value the most, to do with our sense of love, the sense of connectedness with relationships, how we connect with others, what's more meaningful for us, where we find value in our life. Venus pertains to love, relationships, luxuries, pleasures, the finer things in life, and so maybe there's a time for pause with that, and maybe even just reflecting on the sense of self. Because Leo does have a strong sense of self. Even though Leo is a very generous and loyal and giving energy, there is a lot of, strong energy to do with the self. And especially with that North Node in Aries, there could be this new theme starting to come up, starting to arise. So again, relationships, I feel, are going to be maybe a predominant theme this month, but there's going to be also a bit of give and take, and understanding that in relationships, there is more than just I, there is we. And so it's working in the we aspect, South Node in Libra, where relationship dynamics may become stronger if we put a little bit more effort into it, if we put a little bit more work, if we have more compassion and more care and nurture relationships. Okay, so if that is resonating with you. We also have the full moon in Aquarius kicking off the month of August. So it's a really strong start to the month. I feel that there's going to be a lot of energy this month. I feel that it's a continuation of what happened during the new moon in Cancer. When the full moons come in, it is a time of it's a time of release. There could be areas within yourself, within your subconscious, that become illuminated from the depths. Aquarius is very intellectual, so there may be a challenge between the mind and the heart that may be showing up. So make sure there's empathy. I'm going to create a whole video on the full moon in Aquarius separately. Again, I'm strongly leaning towards relationships in the month of August. So where can we bring more compassion and more empathy towards relationships rather than overthinking and getting stuck in our own programming and in our own fears, and open up to more love and open up to more connection and work on the connectedness with relationships, dropping our guard, working again, like I said, dismantling fears. And maybe this was a theme during Cancer energy, to connect more with the heart and the intuition that may lead us into quality relationships or more meaningful relationships in the month of August. We also have the very popular 8-8 portal on the 8th of this month, being the 8th month. You definitely can work with that energy to open yourself up to receive information, downloads, connectedness, messages from your higher self, opening up yourself expansively for connectedness with universal energy, universal intelligence, even feeling yourself stepping into maybe a new reality or something that you are wanting to create, or fully being open for a new journey in your life. If you're starting to feel that things are opening up for you, you can really step into this expansiveness energy and work with that energy of the 8-8. Okay, on August 16th, we have the new moon in Leo, and this is going to be a really great time to set new intentions. I'm going to record a separate video on this new moon, but just giving you a heads up, middle of the month, we have the new moon in Leo, and it really is all about expression. So take time in this month. You're naturally going to feel a little bit of it, but connect with your sense of self-expression and creativity and courage and bravery, for even just stepping into something new, stepping out of the comfort zone, stepping into something new, stepping into maybe pushing your boundaries a little bit, following your heart, and dismantling fears in order for you to overcome maybe some resistance or some old patterns that might be holding you back. It's a very creative energy. And also, like I said, it can be very sociable, spending time with others, enjoying this summer energy that we have in the Northern Hemisphere here. But the new moon is all about setting new intentions. And it is going to be setting new intentions around that theme of stepping out of our comfort zone, being seen, expressing more, inviting, maybe even pertaining to relationships, being brave with relationships with our heart perhaps. But I'll do a separate video on the new moon in Leo to guide you through some prompts for that time. Okay, and then on the 23rd of August, we have Sun entering Virgo and Mercury going retrograde in Virgo at the same time. Okay, well, Virgo energy, we're going to be moving more into the details and pragmatic energy, change with mutable energy of Virgo, but Mercury is Virgo's ruling planet. So there may be tension with communication or overthinking communication and getting stuck. So Virgo is very particular. It is very precise. It's very accurate, very detail oriented. So the energy could get very detailed around that time, very, very strict around certain areas of conversation, of details pertaining to communication materials, even writing, social media, speaking with other people, maybe even being very cautious around what we're saying, maybe overly too cautious. It could also bring in a lot of anxiety or overthinking. So just be aware of the mind, be aware of the energy at this time, because it could weigh more heavily on the mind than anything else. And then on the 30th of the month, we have the full moon in Pisces. So we have 2 full moons in this month, which I will record a separate video for that full moon altogether. But this month is going to be action-packed. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to be aware of. I want to say, most of all, have fun. Embrace this Leo energy, express yourself, work on relationships. I feel that there's a really nice opportunity here with that universal month number 6 to focus on relationships, nurturing relationships, also nurturing yourself, nurturing the heart. How do you want to express yourself? What kind of relationships do you want around you, or what kind of relationships do you want to create? So I'm wishing you a beautiful month ahead in August. Remember that universal month number 6 is going to be the most predominant. See how it can relate to you with relationships, with self-care, love, nurturing. And I will be recording videos for the 2 full moons and the new moon as I move along here in this month ahead. I'm wishing you all the best at this time and beyond, and I'll be seeing you again very soon. Take care.